This is a May Luna Media production.
Hi, beautiful weirdos. Long time no transmission. If you've been wondering where the hell I disappeared to, I promise I was not abducted by Pleiadians or off grid doing ayahuasca in the Andes. I was finishing my first book for the plot. Yep, it is officially written, it is edited within an inch of its life, and currently sitting on my editor's desk where it is being lovingly tortured into publishable perfection. Writing that book cracked me open in ways that therapy and caffeine and chaotic dating never could. It was like turning my entire nervous system into a Google Doc. Every chapter, every heartbreak, every what the fuck was that moment ended up on the page. And now that that ink is dry, it is time to turn my attention back to this frequency, the podcast. Because honestly, the cosmos didn't stop getting weirder just because I went MIA. Like, while I was buried in revisions, an interstellar comet, literally a visitor from another star system, came screaming through our solar neighborhood. And NASA calls it Three Eye Atlas, and the Hopi elders called it destiny, and the internet called it clickbait. But honestly, you can call it what you want. Because today we're diving into what happens when science and prophecy and ancient myth all point to the same damn thing, that the sky is remembering us. So, all right, grab your coffee, your crystals, whatever existential coping mechanism you're currently into, and let's talk about the cosmic visitor that made scientists nervous and mystics nostalgic and Twitter absolutely feral. Welcome back to Synaptic Soul. Welcome to the Synaptic Soul podcast, where science meets spirit and they totally make out. I'm Ava Marie Anderson, your quantum-loving, spiritually savage bestie, here to prove your energy isn't mystical, it is measurable. And oh, quick heads up, if you hear snoring or grunting or a dramatic sigh mid-download, that is not a ghost in the machine. It's just my Frenchie co-hosts, Rocky and Rambo, vibing at their own frequency. Let's dive in. Imagine you're an astronomer minding your own damn business, staring at the night sky, and then suddenly your telescope picks up a blur that is moving way too fast for anything that belongs here. That was the scene in 2024 when NASA's automated sky survey called ATLAS spotted a faint blue-green object cutting across the dark like it had somewhere to be. And then they ran the math. The object's orbit wasn't an ellipse like every normal solar-bound rock. It was hyperbola, meaning that it wasn't orbiting the sun at all. It was just, kind of passing through. So enter Three Eye Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar visitor that we have ever caught sneaking through our backyard. Like, before it, we had one in 2017, which was a weird cigar-shaped mystery that had physicists arguing about alien light sails. And then we had another one in 2019, which looked more like a standard comet. But Three Eye Atlas was a different vibe entirely. Its color suggested complex carbon compounds. Good lord, that was a tongue twister. Its tail shimmered like turquoise and almost like it was like a bruise across the void. Like it came from outside of our solar system, older than our sun, likely forged in a dead star nursery millions of years away. Like we were literally looking at the dust of another world's creation drifting past ours. And humans being humans immediately made it about us. Like throughout history, comets have been the original influencers of panic. Like the ancient Chinese recorded them as broom stars sweeping away dynasties, and the Romans thought that they were souls of slain kings. Medieval Europe blamed them for plagues and wars and bad haircuts, and even Shakespeare couldn't resist writing, "When beggars die, there are no comets seen. The heavens themselves blaze forth like the death of princes." Deep, man. It's Cosmic Psychology 101. Like when the sky changes, something in our bodies flinch. Our nervous systems evolved under those stars, our circadian rhythms, our melatonin cycles, our solar magnetics. So basically, any disruption up there pings our biology down here. A new light in the sky, well, the amygdala lights up like a slot machine. The collective human psyche goes, "Oh, something's ending, something's beginning." So when Three Eye Atlas went by, headlines screamed alien visitor and messenger from afar and proof of other civilizations. And scientists just rolled their eyes, but secretly they weren't entirely chill either. Because interstellar comets are like a cosmic gossip. They carry chemical signatures from systems that we have never touched. They tell us what other suns are made of, what molecules exist out there, and what, I don't know, maybe what ingredients seeded life everywhere. So, if you zoom out from the lab coats for a second, it is kind of poetic. Like humanity, mid existential crisis, arguing about AI and reality TV, it gets a literal reminder from deep space that we are a part of something infinitely bigger and infinitely older. But here's the kicker. 3i Atlas burned bright blue-green before fading out near the orbit of Jupiter. That's blue-green. That is the exact color that indigenous prophecies like the Hopi's Blue Star Kachina, they describe as the sign of a world transition. And maybe that's a coincidence. But you know what? Coincidences have always been the universe's favorite punchline. So, in a world addicted to certainty, comets show up to remind us that chaos still has a sense of timing. Like, they don't ask for permission, they don't orbit predictably, they just appear, flash their tail, drop a few existential breadcrumbs, and then peace out to infinity. So, maybe 3i Atlas isn't an omen or a god or an alien Uber driver. Maybe it's a cosmic mirror holding up a reminder that not everything valuable sticks around. Some things just pass through long enough to wake you up. And if that isn't the most human lesson ever, like, I don't know what is. You ever have a breakup so wild that it felt like the universe was writing fan fiction about your nervous system? Yeah, same. My upcoming book, For the Plot, is what happens when heartbreak turns holy and humor becomes healing. It's part memoir, part fiction, all chaos, a love letter to the woman who burned their old selves down and call it transformation. This isn't your typical self-help book. It's sexy, it's messy, it's a little unhinged, and it is deeply spiritual. Because growth isn't always sage and soft lighting. Sometimes it's tequila and tears and a text you shouldn't have sent. So if you ever looked at your healing journey and thought, well, at least it's good for the plot, this one's for you. For the Plot, coming spring 2026. Stay tuned, stay messy, and pre-order soon at avamarieanderson.com. If you have ever stood under an Arizona sky, you know how it hums. Like, that desert silence isn't really silent. It's like the land itself is listening. And the Hopi people have been listening to that hum for thousands of years, long before telescopes or Twitter threads. Their cosmology isn't based on fantasy. It's observation and pattern and memory. Like, they're the original data keepers of the Southwest. So, according to Hopi oral tradition, humanity has lived through 4 worlds, each one destroyed by imbalance, each one reborn through humility and remembrance. So the first ended in fire, the second ended in ice, the third in flood, and now we are living in the 4th world, wobbling at the edge of another reset. And somewhere between the prophecies and the pottery shards, they left a breadcrumb trail, a warning wrapped in a vision. They said that when the world nears its purification, a blue star Kachina will appear in the heavens. It'll be a sign that the 5th world is about to emerge. The story goes that the blue star will dance in the sky, a spirit in motion, and when it removes its mask during the sacred dance, the final days of the old order will be over. So to a modern ear, that sounds apocalyptic, but the Hopi word for this isn't destruction, it's purification. Like, think of it like the planet is clearing its cache. It's deleting the corrupted files, it's rebooting for a new operating system, and the 5th world isn't a heaven, it is a state of balance restored. And now, here's where things get deliciously eerie. When astronomers first captured images of 3i Atlas, they noticed its electric blue-green glow, and that color comes from the diatomic carbon molecules flaring under the sunlight, but to the naked eye, it looks like the exact hue that the Hopi described: cobalt, turquoise, spirit blue. A comet that literally fits the description of the blue star. Is it a coincidence? Maybe. But let's just play with probability for a second. So every time something bright and unpredictable streaks across the heavens, humanity reacts with the same primal mix of awe and anxiety. The Hopi just had the language to decode that reaction spiritually instead of scientifically. Their prophecies weren't fortune telling, they were pattern recognition. They saw the rhythm between the sky events and the social breakdowns, between celestial movement and human moral drift. They predicted cobwebs in the sky, which modern Hopi elders interpret as telephone wires or the internet. They warned of a dwelling place in the heavens falling with a great crash, eerily reminiscent of satellites re entering the Earth's atmosphere. They spoke of people forgetting the sacredness of the land, of greed and pollution, and technology replacing wisdom. Like, check, 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 and check. So, when a comet suddenly blazes through our sky after decades of quiet, it hits different. To the Hopi, that's the planet sending a push notification, like, bitch, you are out of alignment again. But here's what I love. The Hopi never said that the blue star marks the end of humanity. They said that it marks a choice, that those who remember how to live in balance with the earth will cross into the fifth world, and those who don't, well, they're going to stay behind in the buffering screen of their own making. This is the most grounded kind of prophecy, not a threat, but a mirror. It doesn't demand belief, it just demands responsibility. And maybe that's why it still hits in 2025. Like, we're watching the same skies our ancestors did, only now through space telescopes instead of rituals. We call it data when they called it vision. But the conversation hasn't changed. Like, how do we live when the heavens start to speak again? Science tells us that comets like 3I Atlas are messengers from the before the beginning, fragments of other solar systems carrying uncorrupted chemistry. Spirituality tells us they're just reminders that creation is cyclical. Like, the Hopi prophecy sits perfectly in between. It is a poetic translation of astrophysics into human ethics. So maybe the blue star isn't one comet, but a recurring archetype. Maybe it's the symbol that reappears every time civilization forgets what matters. It's the cosmic version of your iPhone screaming storage is full. Like, delete what no longer serves or the system is going to crash. And maybe that's why the Hopis still keep watch from their mesas in Arizona. Like, not out of fear, but out of reverence. Because to them, prophecy isn't about predicting the future, it's about remembering how to listen. So, as scientists chart the trajectory of 3I Atlas, scanning its spectrum and debating its origins, the Hopis simply nod. They've seen this story before. They've just been waiting for the rest of us to catch up. So when we come back, we're going to travel even further back to ancient Sumer, where the clay tablets described a mysterious ninth planet that crosses the heavens. Was it metaphor, memory, or another kind of visitor entirely? We're going to find out. All right, let's rewind about 6,000 years to the floodplains between the Tigris and the Euphrates, ancient Sumer. So, while most of humanity was still figuring out how to domesticate goats, the Sumerians were casually inventing writing and agriculture and beer and complex astronomy. Like, they mapped the heavens with a precision that still blows astrophysicists' minds. And among their cuneiform tablets is one word that launched centuries of speculation. It's Nibiru. In Akkadian, it means the crossing or the point of transition. So, to modern eyes, it looks suspiciously like the name of a planet that came and went on a massive elongated orbit, one that occasionally crossed paths with Earth. Like, cue every History Channel special ever. So in the 1970s, author Zecharia Sitchin took those clay records and ran a full-blown sci-fi relay with them. So in The 12th Planet, he argued that Nibiru was home to the Anunnaki, the sky beings who genetically engineered early humans to mine gold for their atmosphere. It's wild and cinematic and almost certainly not what the Sumerians literally meant, but, and here's where things get fun, modern science accidentally reopened that same cosmic door. Because in 2016, Caltech astronomers Mike Brown and Konstantin Batkin found mathematical evidence for an unseen giant planet far beyond Pluto. And they called it Planet 9. It's about 10 times Earth's mass, orbiting on a path so stretched that it would take 10 to 20,000 years for it to make one single lap around the sun. Sound familiar? Well, A hidden world that crosses the heavens, influencing other orbits without revealing itself? Like the name changed, yes, but the archetype stayed the same. And here's where I get goosebumps. The Sumerians were obsessed with cycles. Sar, a 3,600-year period that they tied to celestial movement. That's what they called it. Sar is 3,600 years. In myth, that is Nibiru's return window. In astronomy, long period comets and hypothetical rogue planets move on exactly those types of time scales. It's almost like ancient observers caught glimpses of something real and then they described it in the language that they had, and we're only now rediscovering it in math. So let's get clear though. There is zero hard proof that Nibiru is hanging out behind Neptune waiting to ruin our day. Like every few years, somebody online yells, "It's coming," and NASA collectively rolls its eyes. But what is real is the gravitational weirdness in the outer Kuiper belt. Like objects tilting and clustering as if it's tugged by something massive. So Planet 9 could be a planet, it could be a cluster, it could just even be the gravitational echo of a passing star. But whatever it is, something is playing cosmic bumper cars out there. So what does that have to do with Three Eye Atlas or the Hopi Blue Star pattern? It's pattern, it's rhythm. It's the repeating theme that celestial outsiders show up right when humanity's narrative hits another chapter break. So Sumerian priests track these visitors not out of paranoia but out of reverence. To them, astronomy was theology. Like the sky wasn't up there, it was the divine diary. And Nibiru wasn't necessarily a physical planet, it was a symbolic crossing point where divine order and human chaos intersect. And that's the part that we forget when we meme out the Anunnaki. Like their myth of sky gods descending could just as easily describe epochs when the Earth literally passes through higher energy regions of the galaxy, just sparking climate change and civilization resets. Like translation error or metaphor, maybe it's both. And even if we strip the myth completely bare, the data still whispers. Every few thousand years, something out there perturbs the solar system. Sometimes it's a comet. Sometimes it's a rogue planetoid. Sometimes it's a dust wave from a nearby supernova. But each event leaves fingerprints in ice cores, sediment, and the fossil record. Like life gets a jolt and species adapt and civilizations shift. The planet crosses and so do we. So it's tempting to romanticize it as divine intervention, but maybe it's just physics doing what physics does. Like gravity and magnetism and radiation, that's the original trinity. Yet somehow the Sumerians knew that the sky was not a static dome, but a living rhythm. And that's the part of ancient wisdom that science keeps bumping into like deja vu. So when astronomers today hunt for Planet 9, I imagine a Sumerian priest somewhere in their ether smirking with like a reed stylus in hand, whispering, "I told you so," and maybe, just maybe, that's the thread tying this whole episode together. Because every culture, Sumerian, Hopi, modern NASA, it looks up and it sees motion where there should be order, and then it senses that the story of Earth is not self-contained. Like we're in orbit not just around the sun, but around mystery itself. And coming up next, we're going to braid these threads. The comet streaking through, the Hopi's blue star, and the shadowy ninth planet, all into one story about cycles and cataclysms and why humanity always seems to wake up only when the sky does something dramatic. Stay with me. You ever wish your spiritual practice came with a push notification? Same. That is why I live on the Sage app. It's like a digital mystery school and a self-care sanctuary had a baby. You'll find rituals, live classes, moon circles, and daily practices from some of the most badass teachers in the spiritual space. And yeah, I'm one of them. I host the live new moon manifestation clubs, plus courses and activations that blend neuroscience, quantum mechanics, and ancient magic. It's basically science with a side of witchcraft. So come hang with me live on the next new moon inside Sage. Download the app in the App Store or Google Play, and let's just get your energy right and your rituals tight and your frequency lit. Here's a fun and mildly terrifying truth. Like, the Earth has selective amnesia. Like, she forgets and resets and starts over just like we do after a breakup. Like, civilizations rise and they fall and they leave a few pyramids behind, like emotional baggage for the next generation to figure out. But before every collapse, before the droughts and the fires or the floods, there's always the same thing. And it's a moment when everyone starts looking up. Like, the Mayans did it, the Egyptians did it, the Sumerians, the Hopi, the Vedic sages, all of them watched the skies like something up there was watching back. And maybe it was. And every time they saw an anomaly, a comet or a wandering star or an eclipse that lingered too long, they braced themselves because they knew what modern humans try to deny, that the cosmos and consciousness are in constant conversation. And science actually agrees. Like, it just uses drier language. Like, take the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. So, around 12,800 years ago, Earth was minding her own glacial business when, according to ice core evidence, a swarm of comet fragments smacked into the planet like celestial shrapnel. So then our temperatures plummeted, megafauna died, an entire generation of advanced hunter-gatherers had to reinvent civilization. Sound familiar? Well, it should. That is the birth of every flood myth ever told, from Noah's Ark to Gilgamesh to the Hopi's third and fourth world transition. It's like the planet sneezes every few millennia, and then we have to reboot the Wi-Fi of human consciousness. But what's wild is that scientists can actually see this pattern in geological layers, like magnetic reversals and solar activity spikes and cosmic ray fluctuations. They all show up roughly 12 to 13,000 year cycles. And right now, guess where we are? Yeah, we're at the end of one. And spoiler alert for the next episode, or no, next week's episode, because we're going to talk about these 12 to 13,000 year cycles. We're going to go deep into that, but let's not take away from this. Because that doesn't mean that the world's about to explode. It just means that we're in the middle of another global identity crisis. Like every major turning point in history, Bronze Age collapse, Roman decline, Industrial Revolution, it lines up with cosmic or geomagnetic turbulence. Like solar minimums, comet swarms, shifts in the Earth's wobble. We call them all coincidences, but the ancients called them signs. Like the Hopi said that the blue star would herald purification. The Sumerians said that Nibiru's crossing would shake civilizations. The Atlanteans, if we believe Plato's tea, and we do, claim that they fell because they stopped listening to the rhythm of the stars. Like, pick your myth, it is all the same plot. It's hubris meets reset. And you know what's funny? Like, we're still doing it. Like, every time we build technology faster than we evolve emotionally, the universe sends a cosmic text that says, "New phone, who dis?" And usually that text is on fire. But here's the non-mystical version. Comets and asteroids and solar storms periodically jolt the planet's magnetic field, which then affects everything from climate to animal migration to, yes, your brain. Like the pineal gland, that little light-sensitive crystal palace in your skull, it responds to geomagnetic changes. It is literally tuned to the Schumann resonance, which is the Earth's electromagnetic heartbeat. So when that frequency spikes, and she's been spiking a lot lately, human behavior gets weird. We get anxiety and insomnia and radical innervation, like it's all a part of the same energetic weather. So when ancient cultures said that the gods were angry or the heavens were changing, maybe they were just describing biology in poetic form. Like the veil between myth and mechanism is thinner than we think. But here's a deeper reason that we always look up before everything changes. Because we know. Like on some subconscious level, we feel the shift coming before the data catches up. It is built into our nervous system. Pattern recognition is survival, by the way. Our ancestors watched the stars because it told them where to plant crops. Like we scroll sky maps on apps for the same reason. Control disguised as curiosity. And maybe that's why every comet feels personal. Like we see 3i Atlas streak across the sky and we immediately start projecting our own story onto it. Rebirth, reckoning, apocalypse, hope. It is human nature to mythologize what it is that we don't understand. But maybe myth was just the first version of science, that oral archive before we learned to publish journals. Like, there's a certain humility in remembering that civilizations far older than ours read the sky with equal sophistication. Like, they didn't separate the sacred from the scientific, they saw them as one continuous language. So, when they said the world was ending, they didn't mean obliteration, they meant transformation. So maybe that's where we are now. Like mid shift, mid sentence, mid cycle. The comet's been spotted, the prophecies are echoing, the data is stacking, and once again, humanity is staring upward, waiting for the next chapter to fall from the heavens. The question isn't will the world end, it's will we remember what to do when it begins again? Because if history has taught us anything, it's that collapse isn't the villain, it's forgetting is. And that's what brings us to our next layer, how all of these celestial patterns, from comets to planetary magnetics, are literally wired into the physics of our bodies. It's the science of the shift, the proof that you don't have to believe in prophecy to feel it in your cells. Here's the thing about cosmic stories. We always talk about them like they're out there, like 3i Atlas, the Blue Star, Nibiru, Planet 9, all distant and dramatic and conveniently not our problem. But what if every astronomical shift also has a biological echo? Like, what if the universe doesn't just perform for us, but through us? Let's start with something that your high school physics teacher probably skipped. The Earth and the human body hum at almost the same frequency. Let me just say that again. The Earth and the human body hum at almost the same frequency. So the planet's electromagnetic heartbeat, the Schumann resonance, averages about 7.83 hertz. And guess what your brain does when it's calm and creative and tapped into that flow state? It vibrates between 7 and 8 hertz in a theta rhythm. Is that a coincidence? No, like, come on now, please. It is a cosmic Bluetooth connection. And now add in the magnetosphere. That is that invisible bubble that shields Earth from solar radiation. When solar flares or cosmic rays spike, that field flexes. And satellite data shows that the Schumann frequency wobbles. So human studies show that heart rate variability and melatonin production wobble with it. So translation, when the sun sneezes, our nervous systems catch it. And this isn't woo, it is measurable. The HeartMath Institute, yes, real science, not crystal TikTok, found that fluctuations in geomagnetic fields correlate with changes in human mood, in their reaction time, and even in our intuition accuracy. Like, your vagus nerve is basically a space weather antenna. And now here's where that quantum theory gate crashes the conversation. So quantum physics tells us everything: atoms, DNA, thoughts, comets. It's all a field of vibrating probability. Like, nothing is truly separate. So when 3i Atlas sliced through our heliosphere, it created a measurable ripple in plasma density. And that ripple moved through the solar wind, which then interacts with the Earth's field, which then interacts with you. Like, that's physics. It is not poetry. But speaking of poetry, DNA is literally an antenna for light. Like biophotons, those tiny packets of electromagnetic energy emitted by cells, communicate at near infrared frequencies. So Russian biophysicist Pop found that coherent biophoton emission, basically how in tune your cells are, increases when humans meditate and sing or feel awe. So when you're staring up at a comet, struck dumb by its beauty, your DNA is listening. And the ancients knew this intuitively. The Hopi's purification wasn't about punishment, it was about coherence, bringing humanity back into resonance with Earth's rhythm. And the Sumerians' Nibiru was the crossing point where divine and human frequencies sync. The new planet beyond Neptune that we just discovered, it is just another reminder that resonance is recursive. The universe keeps expanding, and so do we. And here's a fun little brain bender. Every time the solar system rearranges itself, a new orbit, a new planet, a new comet, the gravitational field recalibrates ever so slightly. Those micro tugs affect tidal forces and atmospheric pressure and even the subtle spin alignment of atoms in your body. So when mystics talk about feeling the shift, maybe they're not exaggerating. Maybe your mitochondria can really sense a solar storm before NASA's press release hits. But here's where we're going to bring it all back to personal practice. You can't control comets, but you can control coherence. So when the world feels chaotic, your best technology isn't your phone, it's your nervous system. Like, regulate it and you become a tuning fork for stability. Breathe deeply and move and hum and ground and touch the earth. That's not self-care fluff, it is electromagnetic hygiene. Like, think of it this way. If the universe is a symphony, every human nervous system is an instrument. Like, the sky is going to throw a new note, a new comet, a flare, a planetary discovery, and we can either add to the dissonance or we can tune ourselves to the new key. So maybe the shift isn't something coming to us, it is something moving through us. Like, the Hopi Blue Star wasn't a countdown, it was a mirror. The Sumerian Nibiru wasn't doom, it was orbit. And the Comet 3I Atlas isn't prophecy, it is punctuation. Like, the universe is reminding us that the sentence isn't over yet. So next time a comet headlines your newsfeed or a scientist announces another world beyond Neptune, don't just scroll past. Remember that you are part of the system that noticed. Your atoms once rode inside a star. Your heartbeat syncs to the same pulse that hums beneath the oceans and above the clouds. The universe isn't out there waiting to reveal itself. It already has, in you. And that, my friends, is the real science of the shift. You have been listening to the Synaptic Soul podcast, where science meets spirit and they totally make out. If this episode hit your frequency, do me a favor, rate it, review it, and share it with your fellow quantum weirdos. It helps the wavelength reach more souls. And if you caught a little snoring, that wasn't a portal, just my Frenchies Rocky and Rambo offering background blessings. Music is Cheat Code by 1,000 Hands, used under Creative Commons. And I am Ava Marie Anderson. Stay weird, stay wired, and keep making out with your higher self.